I thought in this stream we'd talk a little bit about Instagram. It's a very hot topic at the moment. I'm seeing more and more businesses deciding to dive onto Instagram. You know, it is the new shiny thing, but that's not always a good thing. So first of all, let's just talk about Instagram itself. A few facts. It's owned by Facebook. They purchased it some time ago, and everybody suspected that once Facebook bought Instagram, they would just take all that technology and just hive it all off and stick it into Facebook. How wrong we all were. Now, I thought that'd be the case as well, but it's really not the case. So they've kept it as a separate product, and that actually was a very clever move. They've now used the Facebook advertising platform and built it for Instagram as well. So anybody who's out there doing Facebook advertising, you would have found, or hopefully found, that you can also do your advertising on Instagram as well. And it does have a big impact. So if you haven't explored it yet, you should do. It's got in excess of 500 million users now, over 300 million of which are using it every day. Average user uses it for over 20 minutes a day, which is really interesting. So, you know, if you're thinking of exploring it, those figures do start to add up. More than 50% of 18 to 29-year-olds are using it. So if you're marketing to that younger generation, then it might be a platform for you. But remembering, just as with Facebook, just as with Twitter, the age is going to stretch out. So you're going to see it going 18 to 45 and then up to the 60s. It is going to become a platform that a lot more people are using because it's very simple and it works brilliantly on a mobile. 30%, around about 30% of global internet users use it, which is a fascinating figure. More women than men use it, and I totally get that. You do find that with very visual social media channels that, you know, there's more women on Pinterest than men. Slightly more women on Facebook than men. I think it's about 45% men, 55% women, something like that. There's not a lot in it. And, you know, that integration might not be apparent, but it is quite closely linked with Facebook. You know, the Facebook algorithm decides who sees what posts. That also happens a little bit on Instagram. To what level, I'm not entirely sure yet. So you see this shiny new channel and you're thinking, oh yeah, we should try that. And a lot of people just dive in and use it. And I love the bravery of it, but a lot of time people aren't taking the time just to sit there and listen and see what other people are doing. So they make some common mistakes, and those common mistakes happen throughout all of their marketing efforts, not just their digital marketing efforts. And what they don't do is take the time to learn the product and learn their skill. So the first question you should always ask yourself is my audience there on Instagram, or are they likely to be there in the future? And that's really important, because if you think your audience are going to like that new social media channel, in this case Instagram, then you should probably jump on and start learning the skill and getting better at it. You know, I know there's not an awful lot of people consuming live streams at the moment, but I'm betting on the fact that people will. And I think they're going to get more and more used to consuming content this way. And it'll be various levels of content, you know, one man in front of the camera as I'm doing now, up to really high production live streams that we're starting to see from some of the bigger media producers. You know, we're seeing the BBC are doing a lot of streaming, Mashable are doing loads. You're going to see more and more people. You know, it's the next, you know, there's always this talk of social TV, and I think this is going to be it. You know, it's not about having Facebook and Twitter on your TV. It's about actually being able to turn your social channels into TV channels effectively. So the question is, are my audience there, or are they likely to be there in the future? If you can get there nice and early and hone your skill and really get behind Instagram and learn all the differences between that and other social media channels, then it's a nice time to get that done before your audience arrives. Other big question, and a lot of businesses struggle with this on lots of different social media channels, is can you generate the content? Some businesses just generally support Instagram in the nature of what they do. There's lots of opportunities to create imagery, create videos, and also use the Instagram stories feature, which is 10-second videos which get strung together. Some other businesses, not so much, and it's a lot harder, and you've got to really kind of get your marketing strategy down. If you decide that is a channel you want to do, you need to spend some time deciding what kind of content you're going to put out on Instagram. And more often than not, businesses are diving on and then they're struggling to come up with ideas for content. Really, really tricky. The other thing, and I say this for all social media before you go diving on it, can you give it the time and effort it needs to become a useful resource for your business? You know, we often talk in social media about storytelling, documenting, and putting content out. We're always using throwing that word around like it's confetti. Content. You just got to think, if you're going to do something, do it well. Give it the time and effort it needs. I'm not talking about the quality, because actually quality is not always that massively important. It's actually, a lot of people spend too much time on the quality and don't concentrate on actually getting some content created. So if you're going to go onto Instagram and you've decided it's for you, you've got to really understand that it's going to take time and effort to get good at it, and you can't just expect people to just flood over and start following and engaging if you're doing a post every 2 to 3 days. Instagram needs a little bit more time and effort than that. The other thing is, and a lot of people don't do their homework, is get to know the product, understand how it works. We know that you can have up to 30 hashtags on Instagram. We know that choosing the right hashtags is really, really important if you want to get more people seeing your content and engaging with it. We know that a lot of the really nice images that you see on Instagram are people actually using proper DSLR cameras and then moving it onto Instagram, not just using the phone. So you've got to kind of look at what you're trying to achieve and how you can best use it. I think the biggest and best update to Instagram recently is the ability to zoom, because that adds some extra level of interest, and Instagram stories, that being able to tell 10-second video stories interspersed with images and bits of text and stickers on the screen, so it can really get your creative juices going. But we are all getting bombarded with content and all these new social media channels, and it's sometimes hard to keep on top of them all. And many businesses see the next shiny thing and jump straight on it without really giving it enough thought, and end up having to do 4, 5, 6 social media channels and not doing any of them well. Different for us because we need to understand them all, have a fundamental understanding of each and every social media channel, so we can better advise people that we're working with. But for most businesses, 1, 2, maybe 3 at a push is more than enough. And what they're doing is they're trying to edge their bets, and they end up they haven't got enough content, they end up automating to send that same image to 5 different channels. And it just looks amateurish, and they'd be better off just focusing on 1 or 2 social media channels, because I just think it would bring a greater return. And it'd be like trying to learn 5 new skills all at the same time. You're going to really struggle to get good at any of them. You're better off just picking a couple and just learning those. So what kind of businesses can benefit from it? The catch-all, any business. But I think the businesses that really work well are kind of lifestyle businesses. Fashion works exceptionally well. Food, if you're baking cakes, or you're big in vegan food, or even chefs should be all over Instagram. It's a very visual product. Food is very visual, and Instagram just suits that perfectly. If you work in the holiday business, 100%. If you work in experiences, whether it be taking people on walks, or activity centres, climbing walls, anything like that, should be all over Instagram. I have noticed that kind of staged kind of images work really, really well. I see a lot of people staging food or staging products, and that works really, really well. So you need to give it some thought, do your homework, go and have a look at brands that are like you, if they exist, and see how they're using it. Really do look at the hashtags. They are so important. We've done a lot of testing around hashtags, and the difference, I think Twitter now doesn't really matter whether you use hashtags or not, because the platform has just changed so much. But Instagram, it's critical. If you're not going to use hashtags, you might as well not bother using Instagram. If you have any questions on Instagram, ask them below in the comments. If you're watching this on Facebook, if you're seeing this somewhere I've shared it, whether that's YouTube or LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever it might be, then please just feel free to message me and I can give you some tips and tricks on using Instagram. I've worked with quite a few different brands now, all different and all approaching Instagram slightly differently, but there's some fundamentals that they all do. Thanks for sparing me a few minutes of your time, and do invite other people to like this content. Thank you.